You actually can get down a Hammer Skull on turn 2 here, which is pretty sweet. Or, okay, well, they got Thoughtseize. Well, that's probably going to be gone now. Watch. Yep, very predictable from our opponents. As always, they, of course, have to have something that screws us over. Hello, my fiery friends, the Infernoman here with the latest in budget deck technology. And for today's deck tech, we're going to be going into the Explorer format to play a deck that you wanted to vote for, and of course you're going to get it today. That's right, we're going to be putting together a bunch of dinosaurs, both old and new, from the original Ixalan set, and of course the debut of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, to put together a deck that we're simply calling Gruul Dinosaurs, or as I like to simply call it, the Lost World. But as always, we have to of course talk about the stats of the deck first. So in this deck today, we're looking at Gruul colors of red and green. We're looking at an average mana curve about 2.5. We're looking at 30 creatures in the deck. We are very creature heavy, of course, and 8 sorceries, rounding out the package with 22 lands. Now before we get started, we just have to ask the simple question: is it finally time for Gruul Dinosaurs to shine on a budget?
Yes. That's it?
Well, you're about to see right now. I honestly think it's finally time. Yes, I will agree that it's actually doable finally. So how are we going to get there, of course? Well, let's talk about, again, every single part of this deck. So, of course, starting with the creatures in the deck, we have, of course, Ixali's Lord Keeper in the 1-drop slot, and we have Drover of the Mighty. These two cards are your essential mana dorks, and of course, because they can tap it for 1 mana of any color, that means it should be easy for us to fix for the remainder of our dinosaurs. Specifically, however, the Lord Keeper will only activate itself for dinosaur spells, so keep that in mind, but considering we are mostly a dino tribal deck, of course, this will work out perfectly for us. Also in the 2-drop slot, our newest dinosaurs would have Belligerent Yearling. This 2-mana 3/2 dinosaur with trample just reads, whenever another dinosaur enters the battlefield under our control, you may have the Belligerent Yearling's base power become equal to that creature's power until end of turn. In other words, if we have at least one of our bigger dinosaurs out, it can then mimic that power level and then smash their way through a lot of stuff. This card is highly underrated if you ask me, and it's going to be very awesome for us in the 2-drop slot. The only other thing we have, of course, is Isquithith, Firstborn of Gishath. So this legendary dinosaur has haste, and it's a 2/3 that reads, when the Firstborn of Gishath enters the battlefield, you may pay 2. When you do, target dinosaur you control deals damage equal to its power to another target. Similar in a way of taking advantage of another creature's power like Belligerent Yearling, Isquithith allows us to, of course, pay a little bit extra, so it's a little pricey as pseudo removal, but it actually is very helpful for us in the mid to late game. In the 3-drop slot, we also have Topiary Stomper, the 3-mana 4/4. It doesn't really get a chance to do much except for ramping for us for a basic land. However, keep in mind that it can't do anything like attacking or blocking until we have at least 7 lands. However, once it gets turned on, it's actually pretty awesome for what it's capable of. But the other really awesome card that we got is Pugnacious Hammer Skull, this 3-mana 6/6. Wow, that's actually pretty awesome stats. However, if it attacks and we don't have a dinosaur out, we actually have to put a stun counter in. So ideally, keep this card as mainly a super awesome blocker, at least until we can take advantage of it later on. Maybe we can bring it out with Belligerent Yearling, or we can take advantage of it with Isquithith as an option for us to use this power against our opponent. In terms of the 4, 5, and 6-drop slots, we have Rampaging Geoderm. This dinosaur beast will give one of our other creatures +1/+1. Also, it has trample and haste. You can also pump it up itself, and also get a +1/+1 counter if we have it attacking a battle. We don't really have any battles in the deck, so that's not really something we worry about. Just that ability to pump something up can also be helpful in a pinch. In the 5-drop slot,
this is where the fun begins.
I've actually talked about this card earlier in a small little YouTube short. Be sure to check that out. Honestly, this card is going to be what we can use to answer Shieldrits. But until then, if you haven't seen it already, this 5-mana 5/5 Dinosaur Dragon with Flying and First Strike simply reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. If you exiled a land card this way, create a 3/1 Dinosaur Creature token. If you exiled a non-land this way, you create a treasure token. So this thing can bring us some ramp and also gives us a lot of card advantage in the mid to late game. And then at the very end of the top curve, we have Trumpeting Carnosaur. The 6-mana 7/6 dinosaur read with trample allows us to do Discover 5. Discover is a brand new mechanic, and it simply reads for Discover. When it enters the battlefield, discovering allows us to exile cards to the top of our library until we exile a non-land card with a mana value of whatever the number is, in this case 5. Then you may cast it without paying its mana cost, or you put it into your hand. You put the rest onto the bottom in a random order. Also, you can discard the card for 3 mana, and it can deal 3 damage to a target creature or planeswalker. The Carnosaur itself allows us to be either flexible as removal, or we can just use it as a top end to finish off our opponent. As far as the remainder of our support, we also are going to be taking advantage of Triumphant Chomp. Triumphant Chomp on the low end will at least be 2 damage to a creature. Now on the high end, it could potentially do as much as 7 damage if we say have a Carnosaur out when we cast the card. And then finally, our other support piece is going to be Commune with Dinosaurs, allowing us to dig deep, 5 cards specifically, to either get a dinosaur or land card out, helping us, of course, pseudo-ramp, or helping us to at least pick out a dinosaur that we're going to need a little bit later into the game. As far as your land base is concerned, again, we're going to be a budget deck, so we're only going to stick to mountains, forests, Game Trail. Technically these are rares in paper, but at least in Arena they're uncommon, so it's great for us on a budget either way. Restline Ridgeline, this simple little land is honestly not going to be essential to the game plan, but I had to throw it in for flavor purposes because it is technically a dino land. And then finally, 4 copies of Cabaret Courtyard. One thing I will caution you on, of course, is it is tempting to put in the creature lands because you are heavily a dinosaur deck, but remember that if you do call out dinosaur with, say, something like Unclaimed Territory, you're going to have an awkward time because then you won't be able to then use that same land to then cast your Ixali's Lorekeeper or Drover the Mighty. Just keep that in mind, of course, if you're tempted to try to use the creature fixing lands. For your sideboard options for your Graveyard Hate, we have Tormod's Crypt, we have Scytheclaw Raptor, allowing us to punish our opponent if they do a lot of instant spells on our turn, doing 4 damage to them. Giant Cinder Maw to then shut down life gain decks out there that are trying to outpump themselves up and try to stabilize. Thrashing Brontodon as our artifact enchantment hate, and it's a beefy little dinosaur as well. And then against control decks, we have Rhythm of the Wild to round out the package, preventing our creatures from being countered, and also they will give them all Riot, so that way they can come in with either +1/+1 counters or immediately are hasty when they enter the battlefield. Can these big dumb dinosaurs roar and chomp their way to victory?
Good question.
I don't know about you, but I'm actually really excited to play this, of course. So let's take this, of course, into the Explorer format and see how well it does. But before we continue, if you do like any of the content that I do, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you watch the content so you don't miss out on any of the gameplay, booster pack openings, deck decks, and so much more. Alright everyone, here we go. We are going to be playing our Gruul Dinosaur deck here in Explore, the Lost World, if you will. But otherwise, can we get there with this hand? I mean, we have some ramp, we have some removal, and we have some aggro here. I think this is doable, right? I think we can pull it off with what we have. Alright, Game Trail first, reveal a mountain to our opponents. Ixali's Lorekeeper. Alright, we actually can get down a Hammer Skull on turn 2 here, which is pretty sweet. Or, okay, well they got Thoughtseize. Well, that's probably going to be gone now. Watch. Yep, very predictable from our opponents. As always, they of course have to have something that screws us over. That's okay, everybody. Mountain. Drover the Mighty. Go swinging here. Down to 17. Well, looks like it's probably going to be some kind of mono black control, or mid-range, I believe, but we'll see what happens here. Rampaging Geoderm. Drover the Mighty now becomes a 3/3, which is kind of sweet. Pump up the Geoderm. Do you have removal opponents? Well, we'll get rid of the Lorekeeper. We still can do some damage here. Down to 10. Alright. Well, that's still not too shabby. We're still within striking range of getting rid of everything. Make us discard, which is fine. It's not something I worry about. Lorekeeper, number 2. Swing again. Oh, wow. that was actually pretty sweet. Okay. Not exactly... I wasn't expecting it to go that quick, but you can see the deck can put out power very quickly if our opponent doesn't have an answer. Alright, my fire friends, here we go. We are playing the Lost World here in Explore, and can our dinosaurs get to victory? Well, we do have, of course, removal. We have Bitter Yearling, and a way to look for more options. This is not too shabby. I think we can keep this. Let's see how well this does. Opponent's doing some mulliganing already, which is nice for us. Alright, with that, we will play a mountain and pass. Could be easy enough to get Communal Dinosaur down, but we're going to hold off on that for a second. So with this, Belligerent Yearling. So we now have our aggro plan. Turn 3 now, we have Commune with Dinosaurs, and that should be hopefully something we can work with here. Mountain. Coming with dinosaurs. Let's dig for an option here, everybody. Oh, I just realized I clicked way too fast there. Well, I just screwed myself over there. I feel so stupid. Okay, either way, everybody, we're still going to make my mistake work. Wow, I really can't believe I just misclicked that quick. Awkward. In any case, that's fine. We still get a land out of it, so it's not like it's a huge deal against us. So with that Fabled Passage, our opponent then digs. I really hope that mistake did not screw me over. Virtual Presence. Persistence. I can't say words. You get the idea, everybody. You know what I'm saying. Alright, with that, we will play Mountain. And Geoderm. Getting some more damage while we can. Swing here. Pump it. Opponent will crack the Fabled Passage. Alright, Island. Down to 15. Wow, I can't believe we kind of hurt ourselves there. Again, I really hope it doesn't hurt us too bad. Oh, okay. Guess our opponent is a 4-color Adventures deck? I guess. Triumph. Topiary Stomper will be nice, but oh wow, we're in a really awkward spot. We can't cast anything ideal you want to get to the Dracosaur, but that's okay, everybody. Cavalry Courtyard. I really realized we might have screwed ourselves over here, but hopefully we can just fight our way out of this. Lore Keeper. Go swinging again. Pump it up. We're down to 11. Well, the one thing, if nothing else, is dinosaurs are proving that they are very aggro, and we can definitely take advantage of that if our opponent has a slow game plan. Alright, another Fabled Passage. Opponent, however, is getting very close to doing their thing. That's 3 Fabled Passages they've had. Raider Tanuki. Okay. I don't see anybody actually hard cast that, but that's okay. What do we get out of this? Okay, I think Bone Horde Dracosaur. No swings here. Dracosaur at least goes once here. We can still pull this off. Quintorius, Discover. Oh, is this the new combo that I've seen? Yes, it is. Alright, we're going to lose here instantly, everybody. But here's what I'm going to explain. For those of you who haven't seen this combo yet, it's just disgusting. Basically, what our opponent is trying to do here is, once they can resolve a Quintorius, they do the Discover ability. Discover basically allows them to dictate their deck, and the way the deck is designed, all they will just keep doing for Discover 4 is casting more copies of clone cards, as you can see here. From there, all they can simply do is just keep making more copies of Quintorius, and they loop it until they just defeat us with all the extra copies of Quintorius here. Again, I hate combo decks like this, but it is what it is. At the very least, I'm just going to let our opponent kind of resolve this, and I'll just speed up the footage right now, so that way you can see the end of this result. And there you go, everybody. So that was the combo for you. Really annoying. It's the hottest new combo, unfortunately, but well, it is what it is. All right, my fiery friends, here we go. We are playing our Gruul Dinosaur deck. Let's keep what we have. It is very land heavy, but that's okay. We'll at least be able to start ramping into what we need very quickly. All right, opponent putting down Dark Slick Shores. All right, so it looks like they're milling. Why are they milling, though? Okay. Okay, I think our opponent is trying to play something that's kind of like Tarmogoyf style gameplay. I guess we'll see in a bit. Forest. Zali's Lore Keeper. So this can get out Topiary Stomper on turn 2. No blocks. 19. What do you have, opponents? Fiend Orison. Interesting choice there. It's okay. That is a choice. Topiary Stomper. Get another land out for free. We will get out a mountain. Alright, opponent. Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, so it's actually a dredge deck. So, they got a Narcomoeba. That's a little annoying for us. Enterprise Amalgam. Okay. Another land. Swing here. We're down to 14. Taking quite a bit of damage here, but that's okay. They're down to 3, which is good for us. We will play Quinth, first of Gishath. We will pay the 2. We will target a dinosaur, taking out the Fiend Artisan. We will play Triumphant Chomp. Take out the Prized Amalgam. Okay, well, we're doing stuff. This is fine. Down to 18. If we could just get to the Trumpeting Carnosaur, maybe we might have a shot here. Alright, they mill. Play another land. Gruul Dinosaurs. They swing here. We're down to 12. Alright, well, this match can still go either way. Hopefully we can get there. Alright. Trumpeting Carnosaur. Come on, big hit, everybody. Come on, big hits. Did we get something good?
Well, this stinks.
We did not. Oh well. Well, that's fine, I guess, but still. At the very least, this can block a Cruel Somberphage. Prized Amalgam. Hard casted. Swing with their one and only Narcomoeba. Down to 11. Bitter Yearling. Coming in. Cavalry Courtyard. Immediately sack. We get a land out of that. We will get a mountain. Gain some life back. And do we just play it now? I guess we'll just play the last row for the Mighty. Do we swing here? I think we're just going to have to wait a bit. If we can get at least another bit of removal for that Somberphage, we should be in business. Prized Amalgam. Wow, they actually have to hardcast him. Well, this unfortunately means that Narcomoeba is going to have a clock on us, but that's fine for now. We can still get around that. Do we do this now? No attack still. This is going to be a little bit of a grind, everybody. We just need to get to at least our removal, or at least our Bone Her Dragon. Ooh, okay, okay. We got our Triumphant Chomp. This is what we needed. Okay. That's out of the way. Swing here. Trumpeting Carnosaur is now an 8-7. They have to block with everything just to stop that card. But that's actually good for us. Ooh, okay. Got him down to 2. Can we get there? Can we beat the Dredge deck? I think we might be able to pull this off. Unless if our opponent can get back everything. And they can't. We got there, everybody. Beautiful. That's what you want the deck to do. Super wide and super aggro. All right, my fiery friends, here we go. Can we win with our dinosaur deck? So here at Explorer, we are looking at seeing if we can get these. Ooh, these Pugnacious Hammer Skulls are pretty sweet. But we also have a way of digging in for some other stuff here. Let's keep this. We can at least get to what we need, so that's going to be awesome. Okay, Spire of Industry. Okay, so I'm guessing our opponent is playing... Oh, they're playing Artifacts. Well, this one might be kind of interesting to see how it goes. Game Trail. Reveal a Forest. Let's take out, actually, that Stone Coil Serpent before it does more damage to us. Alright. Got another Game Trail, which is great for fixing. Alright, Pathway. Raven Inspector. Oh. Interesting. What are they trying to do? Is it still an artifact deck? Let's see. Spy Siren. Create a map token. Huh. I have no idea what our opponent's game plan is, but we'll see, I guess, in a bit. Game Trail down. Reveal the Forest. Let's start digging for more stuff here. What do we want? I think we'll get the Izquith. That technically would be removal later on. Michigo's Reign of Truth. Okay. Oh, okay, I see what they're doing there. They make tokens, they pump up their creature here and do some damage to us. Well, that's kind of neat. I kind of like that idea. Maybe I might steal that for a future deck. Let me know if you want to see that in the future. Make a map token. Sack. And explore. Topiary Stomper. So with that Forest, we will put down Pugnacious Hammer Skull. At the very least now, we have a solid blocker. I guess it's a 5/5. We unfortunately can't deal with that, at least not with what our main deck is trying to do, but that's okay. Springleaf Drum. Alright, they tap it. Make some mana. Insole Artifact. Ooh, okay. Well, that's spicy, but I kind of like it. Alright, another Pugnacious Hammer Skull. So here's how we do this. How can we get out of this? Well, what we simply do here is we pay the 2, pick that, take out the Spyglass Siren. Okay, well, that's not too shabby for now. We have at least a way of getting through. Pugnacious Hammer Skull also can block that Darksteel Citadel for a little bit, as well as the Portrait of Michigo, as long as they don't really go super big, but that's okay. We have ways of still stalling out for a bit longer. Float a mana. Shadow. Oh, they have Shadow Spear. That might be a problem for us. That can actually get around us. That's actually kind of scary. Can we survive a turn on this? No blocks. Okay. Ooh. I don't think we're going to win now, anybody. All right, okay. Can we find a way around this? Okay. So, how do we deal with this? Okay, okay. So with that, Topiary Stomp. Get another land. Okay, no attacks. Well, we don't have a way of dealing with our Darksteel Citadel no matter what we have. At least not in the main deck. So I think we might be losing here. We can block for a couple more turns, but I don't know if that's enough. Oh, okay. Wow. This is unfortunate, everybody. So we're just going to have to block here. We block here, and we lose. Just can't stop all three. A little unfortunate there, but I actually do like what our opponent was trying to do there. I actually think I might actually steal this deck for a future deck tech. Would you like to see an artifact deck in the future? Let me know in the comments below, and I would love to hear from all of you. And there you have it, everybody. So that was our Lost World Gruul Dino deck in Explorer. And you tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Would you play this deck in any way, shape, or form? Let's be honest here. We played quite a few matches today, and the deck is okay. I mean, there was a couple moments where we kind of got cheesed over, but that's okay. I'm not honestly upset. I'm actually really happy. I love playing dinosaurs, but truth be told, Dinosaurs gets a lot better if you're willing to invest a ton into the deck. So the good news, of course, is the ceiling for Dinosaurs is really high, and you can definitely go super huge and expensive with it. But again, it is going to be very pricey if you do want to really upgrade this deck. Still, I'm obviously going to show you guys, if you made it this far into the video, give a shout out below because you are my true fiery friends, and I will show you how you can make the best and most amazing powerful dino deck currently that is buildable in Arena. Now, as far as the upgrades, as I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest weaknesses, of course, of Dinosaurs is the floor is a little rough because of the fact that there are some better dinosaurs now in Arena, but we still have a ways to go if we really want to upgrade. So the good news, of course, in the upgrades, as you can see, is we have a huge ceiling to work with here. So as you can see, we really overhauled the deck this time around. Most of what you're only going to keep is going to be your Mana Dorks, keep your Belligerent Yearling, the Triumphant Chomp, of course, for removal. And then, of course, we'll definitely keep some of our solid options. Pugnacious Hammerskull's got to stay in here. Topiary Stomper for your ramp. Obviously, keep in those Carnosaurs. We're going to, of course, keep those Dracosaurs as well. However, this is now where things get a little more spicier for us. So, first off, we have 2 copies of Invasion of Ixalan, partially for flavor, and, of course, partially for the fact that if we can at least flip these, we have another dinosaur to work with that also is indestructible whenever we cast a spell. Invasion of Ikoria also can give us a giant dinosaur, and also it allows us to pull out at least something later on when we ramp up to it. In the 4-drop slot, we're going to get rid of those Geoderms, and now we have a much more powerful option in Rampaging Raptor. This Trample Haster can do a lot more damage, can also self-pump itself if we need to, and also do a little extra damage being Planeswalker hate against certain control decks out there. The 5-drop slot, the only other option we're going to have now is Palini's Hatcher. This will allow us to make some dinosaur eggs, which could then be hatched into more creature tokens, and also it gives our entire dinosaur team haste, allowing us to swing much faster and more aggressively. And of course, we had to have it in here for flavor purposes. It's not exactly the new Galta, but this one's still solid for our deck, and honestly, this one fits better than the new Galta. Galta Primer Hunger from the original set is really awesome in our deck and super cheap to cast because of all of our powerful dinos that we'll have on the field by the time this comes out. Obviously, for your mana base, you're going to definitely upgrade from your forests and mountains, put in every kind of dual land you can afford and muster up. But at the very least, upgrade your mana base, like I always say, because that's more essential, and you can still work with a janky deck even if you have a good, solid mana base. Finally, in the upgrades for the sideboard, again, you can work with whatever you want to, but my recommendations are going to be get out your Rampaging Ferocidon, same thing, it turns off life gain decks, has Manus, and also it punishes creature heavy decks out there. Tranquil Fillback here gives us a little bit more flexibility because you can then pay extra mana. You always will have it. Trust me, you definitely will. You can gain some life, exile a graveyard, so it also works as instant graveyard hate if we need to, and also destroying an artifact or enchantment with an extra bit of mana. If we're fighting against specific control decks out there, you have Shifting Ceratops here. We also have Scytheclaw Raptor against certain decks that want to do a lot of instants on our turn. We have Domri, of course, also to protect some of our creatures as long as we can plus it up to event getting our spells get it countered, and also it has the fight mechanic built into it, so we can also pick off things later on onto the game. Closest here, not a dinosaur, but also it becomes an indestructible god if we can turn it on for its devotion cost, and we have plenty of devotion to work with in this deck. And of course, the other thing is it provides graveyard hate and also life gain and drain if we are running out of options. And then finally, to round out the package with shifting Ceratops here, we also have Tyrannus Rex. This has Toxic, giving us another way of closing out the game, has Trample, Ward 4, and Haste, and of course, it can't be countered. So this is definitely going to be a solid option for us overall. This is honestly just one of many variations you can build, so go ahead and experiment a little bit, and I assure you, you'll definitely find something you'll be pleased with. And with that, let me go ahead and just give you my final thoughts on the deck. Overall, of course, I love dinosaurs. I had a lot of fun playing the deck, but as you can see, the potential ceiling for this deck is way higher than we could have done, of course, on a budget. And why is that? Well, as you kind of see now, there are a lot of cool dinosaurs out there, but it's definitely going to cost you a ton to do that. Still, as you saw today, we are still more than capable of pulling off fun, aggressive builds of dinosaurs here on Arena. But if you do want to see what you can pull off with it, there's plenty of options out there, and I highly encourage those of you who are a fan of the tribe to definitely start experimenting if you are willing to make the investment. But overall, if you are a fan of aggro decks out there, if you're basically a Gruul fan at heart and you just love smashing your way through victory, I will definitely say give dinosaurs a try. And I assure you, when you discover the lost world, so to speak, you will definitely have a lot of fun doing so. You'll catch your opponent by surprise, and I assure you, you will definitely not be disappointed. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and just remember that no matter what you do play in the game of life, always be sure to burn bright. Later.